Welcome to the Good Pod, where today we're talking to Elsbeth, Season 3, Episode 3, Good Grief. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, the number one pen influencer, Marissa Garza. Marissa, you good?
I'm great. What an intro, Jason.
Yeah, I gave you a
What
good
an
one
intro.
today.
That was
I gave you a
great.
good
I
one.
loved it.
Yeah.
Let's just frame it, put it in the Good Pod Museum. I will cherish it forever. Jason, I'm great. How are you?
I'm
Are you
doing
also
good.
great? Good.
I'm
Good.
good. I'm
Great.
good. I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. Yeah, we're here. It's Elsbeth, Season 3.
Elsbeth, Season 3, The Return. You sum this one up. The Return.
The
Kaya Blanc.
Return. Yes.
Let's
sort of in
sort
some
of
selected scenes.
Yeah, sort of, kind of. Before we dive into that and all the other things that happen in this case, we want to remind you of some free and easy ways you can help this podcast. You can do that by reviewing, rating, and subscribing wherever it is you are watching or listening to this podcast. There's a way to subscribe, like, or review us. If you could do that, it would be greatly appreciated. It gets us into the eyes and ears of more listeners that would like content like this. If you want to just chat with us about the episode or chat with us about any and everything, you can email us at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com. If you so choose, you can also help us monetarily. You can do that by going to buymeacoffee.com/goodpod and donating to our coffers. We would greatly appreciate that, as it helps keep this show running. Marissa,
Yeah.
let's get into the case.
Alrighty, to sum this one up, just give a little brief summary here. In this episode, we're introduced to Raquel Debrowski, aka Julia Fox, I guess.
Julia Fox, who, Julia Fox is one of those people that's like, she hasn't done much in quote unquote Hollywood.
Okay. Yeah. But she has in pop culture.
She's very much so in pop culture. She's very well known in pop culture. She's just, I guess, kind of known for being hot. So like that's basically where I knew her from. Like I've heard the name Julia Fox, and it's basically just from people being like, "Oh my god, how hot is Julia Fox?" And so like I was like, I've heard the name before. I did not recognize her just from her face, like on like the show. I was like, okay, who is this? And so I had to like do more research than normal, because usually I look at our guest murderer and I'm like, oh, it's that person. And this one I was like, who's that person? And I was like, oh,
she
okay.
is famous for the meme, the audio meme, the TikTok sound, uncut gems, or however she said it. She said it in a weird way that everybody like took, like uncut gems or something. It's something. Like look it up.
Okay,
it's a thing. But that's the only reason. That's how I know her. Yeah. Like that's it. Is that everyone was using that sound on TikTok, and I was like, oh, she was talking about uncut gems, and that's it.
Uncut gems. And yes, did she say that while being in the movie Uncut Gems? Is that where that comes from?
Like in her press tour, she was like talking about like the she's something about like the impact of uncut gems.
Well, I mean, because she is in Uncut Gems.
Yes, yeah, she is in Uncut Gems.
And I was unsure if it was one of those moments where it's like, the name of the movie gets said in the movie. She's like, when she was in the movie, she's like, look at all these Uncut Gems. Like,
no, it was like her. It was like a Julia Fox creation. Okay. It was not a scripted moment.
Cool. So yeah, she was in Uncut Gems. She was also most recently in the movie Him, which is a Jordan Peele joint. Mm-hmm. So apparently those are her biggest, I think, bona fides that she has coming into this, other than just being attractive, which is what like I think I know her as being. Or just hearing people say, "Hey, she's hot." So Julia, I don't know how Julia Fox ended up on Elsbeth. I don't think it's our usual guest murderers sitch. I think usually our guest murderers are a little more seasoned, a little more famous.
I was thinking about this and seeing as we had that like budget conversation very explicitly put into our storyline at the beginning of the season. The budget for the show probably did go a lot to the co-stars and having people come in and out. And so I just think like maybe the caliber, no offense to Julia Fox, her star may be rising, she may be on the way. But Nathan Lane, Julia Fox. Yeah. They're gonna be a different paycheck.
Maybe. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like Julia Fox her price might be like high, right? I feel like right now where we are in the world, Julia Fox might cost more than a from David Cross. I don't know. I just feel like Julia Fox is on the rise. Maybe her paycheck is. I don't know. I would love to know
I don't know.
what
I mean,
the reasoning or how this came to be.
we need to see your P&L, Elsbeth. I would like to see the profit and loss of every episode, so I know exactly where your decisions are coming from.
I thought you said a piano. I was like, the piano was last episode.
That was. But I think, I don't know if this theory is true. We'll just have to see like who else continues to show up. But it's just the theory I have at this time. But anyway, okay, so Julia Fox is playing Raquel Debrowski, a grief influencer whose brand is built upon being the widow of a firefighter, Johnny Debrowski, presumed dead in a helicopter crash in Puerto Rico 8 months ago. She's leveraged her widow status to a lucrative social media persona and a reality spin-off show, and was on a reality show called The Black Veil, which, Jason, side note, I really thought was going to be an all black cast, like a reality show. Like I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, oh, okay. But then no, it is a show where widows and widowers get matched up, and hence it's called The Black Veil.
The Black Veil, hosted by Tony Gonzalez, who, Marissa, did you know who Tony Gonzalez was? No, you had no idea. Tony Gonzalez is a famous ex-tight end who does some, I think, pregame show work for like Fox every Sunday. So he was a famous tight end back in the day. Used to really win me some fantasy football matchups back in the day. So I was like, oh, Tony Gonzalez here, which is makes a lot of sense because that's a lane that a lot of like retired NFL people are going down now, being like game show hosts.
Yes.
I think of like Nate Burleson, who was like really blown up to be like a prominent host in a lot of different things. So I think I was like, oh, that makes so much sense into what today's world is like, where a lot of, for whatever reason, ex NFL athletes mostly become these like these game show hosts. I think Michael Strahan, Nate Burleson come to mind. So I was like, that makes a whole lot of sense. James Palmer, even from The Bachelor, I think was even an ex NFL guy, but not as prominent as like a Nate Burleson or Michael Strahan. But yeah, they're out there. So like that makes a lot of sense.
And on the other side of things, Gabby from The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Traders Nation was a Broncos cheerleader. So, that's all I got to offer on knowing the NFL part of it. But anyway,
it's like I have something to contribute.
I do, and that
I know things about the sports ball.
Yeah, sports, and so I actually do know a lot. I just don't support it at this moment in time, for my own personal reasons. Which, yes. Anywho, but I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. You watch, you cheer, you be a fan. That's important, especially in 2025. Okay, so she's on The Black Veil, which is not the show that I thought it was. It is about widows and widowers in a bachelorette style type of show. And on the show, she decides to choose herself and basically like lets these other two guys down. And this is kind of taking her profile up. And that's exactly the point when Johnny decides to unexpectedly turn back up and he's alive. He shows up at Raquel's apartment claiming to have survived, had amnesia, rescued by locals, etc. That moment was the moment there should be a happy reunion, but the story goes sideways quickly. Raquel immediately is calculating, if Johnny is really alive, I don't really have this whole like widow brand thing going on. Meanwhile, the team at the NYPD, including Elsbeth, begin investigating a mysterious voicemail to Johnny's mom, Marie Debrowski. Johnny's mom, for those of you who are fans of old movies, may have recognized as Kathy Moriarty, not the Shakespeare Moriarty, but the Kathy Moriarty from Raging Bull.
Yeah, became famous like back in the day. She's worked a bunch since, but I don't think anything like super out there noticeable.
No, she's like in and out of some things. But yeah, so Johnny called and left a voicemail for his mom, which contradicts Johnny's presumed death. She reports receiving a call from him, which starts to unravel the presumed death story. Forensic evidence starts piling in. A trucker picks up a hitchhiker who is known as Don instead of John. In Delaware, DNA was left on some beer cans in that truck. Johnny's body was later found in the Hudson with a old FYND harness and carabiner. So we've got some evidence going on there. It turns out that Johnny was never on the wrecked helicopter. He skipped it and went off the grid living a double life and like living with a bunch of people, being a bartender, all of this stuff. And he resurfaced when the whole black veil thing was kind of happening. The motive becomes clear to the team. Raquel fears losing her brand, her identity, and her livelihood. Facing Johnny's reappearance, she arranges to kill him, staging his death for real this time by pushing him off the Staten Island ferry. And then continuing on with her live streaming of grief. And so we do see at the beginning of the episode, we see the murder happen, but then the case is like presented as a missing persons case, which is the first time we had that presented to us on Elsbeth. But in the end, the team figures that out per usual. And we had some special help along the way with our good friend Kaya Blanc.
Yeah, this, who is now Denise Jackson for her undercover sting reasons.
And she's apparently like on a task force, and Elsbeth is like, I see you, but I don't see you. And then they meet up for some extra like evidence swapping, but it's kind of putting Kaya in a dangerous spot. And the cliffhanger of this episode is we are left when Elsbeth is trying to reach Kaya on a burner phone that Wagner so generously gives her, and it doesn't answer. So therefore, we don't know where Kaya is.
Dun dun dun. Okay, so
I
really love the conceit of the black veil because it made so much sense for today's reality TV love competition shows, because like you said at the very end, because the conceit is like, whoever you choose will lift your veil and you will live off happily ever after. So she decides to lift her own veil, which has happened in recent seasons of these type of reality shows. People have two options and they go, you know what, this just doesn't feel right. I'm choosing myself for whatever reasons.
I mean, for no reason you might want to watch Love is Blind Denver.
Listen, that is everyone was choosing themselves on Love is Blind Denver at the end. Okay. But yeah, so this makes a whole lot of sense in kind of send up of today's love reality shows. So I thought it was very fun and very funny, made a lot of sense. I enjoyed Tony Gonzalez being here, made so much sense for an ex-NFLer to be the host of this show. And you know, because we find out like it's like this not only like this wasn't real, right? Because what I'm sorry, what is her name? Julia Fox,
Raquel Debrowski.
Raquel is this is calculated because Raquel's like, listen, the grief influencer thing is really bringing in the bucks. So why would I stop that by getting a new love? Well, I can just keep this grief train running. Which, let's have a broader conversation about grief influencers, because that is a thing. Like it's like it might sound like a silly Elsbeth invention, but it's a thing. It's a real thing out there, and you can have your different thoughts about it, whether people are doing it for the right reasons or people are being genuine in how they're feeling. But it's a real thing out there in social media land.
Not to always bring up capitalism, however, I would say that this is not. I'm not judging any of the people who are in grief influencing land, because we have a system that allows for grief influencing to happen. Like, it's just a natural byproduct of capitalism that, of course, now we have influencers that are talking about the skincare products they use to hide their tears when they're crying and grieving. And I also will say that like people are so like detached from their own emotions that like seeing someone else go through emotions could be captivating for someone in like a parasocial relationship type of thing. So yeah, this is a real thing. And and the character of Raquel, she, like you said, she chooses herself on the black veil, but then she noticed like she also has a manager who's in her ear this whole time saying like, oh, now you can get a spin-off show, you can have your own show, you can do all of this. So she's not doing this alone. Like, there's a whole business built around her grief influencing. Excuse me.
Yeah, and it's like she's in this lane. She's like, nothing can mess up this lane. This is the lane I want to stay in. So much so that, like, as you said in the summary, Johnny comes back. Johnny like reappears to her apartment. She's like, oh crap! Like, you're going to you're gonna really mess up my gig here. You're gonna mess up my brand. Which, you know, she's so into her brand, and she'll obviously do anything to keep that brand.
Did you think it was Johnny for real? Like, I was very confused because what I saw was there, like, the manager and Raquel had like a conversation, and she was like, "If only the only thing that could stop this is if Johnny came back or whatever." And then he had a look on his face, like, did he know that Johnny was alive or whatever? And then someone shows up at the door, and I was like, is that Johnny? I don't know, because we didn't see like any pictures of Johnny before that. You know what I mean? So I didn't know what to expect, but
Well, I
I was
mean,
questioning for a while.
I think
Like,
she would know if it was Johnny or not. Like, you
I
think
get,
you think
yeah,
they found a guy that looked just like Johnny, maybe with some
yeah,
cosmetic. Like, this could have been, because the agent guy is actually not a nobody. He's been on Ozark, he's been on Ray Donovan, Rabbit Hole, like in actual like roles, not just like
yeah.
guest star roles. He has done like 20 episodes of Ozark, which didn't have that many episodes. He's in most of the episodes of Ozark. So I definitely could have seen a like twist in there where, like you say, the agent could have been like, I found this guy looks just like Johnny. And he
Right?
thought maybe he's gonna like spring him on Raquel and maybe steal her money or something. That maybe the agent has some other scheme that Raquel didn't know about or something. But that may have been like an early draft of the episode. They cast it. It was like, let's not do that. Let's move away from that.
Or if I like put on my Dateline hat, this was all like Johnny's plan to disappear and then have Raquel earn a lot of money, and then the agent person was funneling money to Johnny while he was living on the island.
Yeah, maybe. You don't really get a good motive on why Johnny is really back, because we find out later in the episode that because what Johnny says to Raquel is like, oh yeah, I flew out of the helicopter when it crashed and I got amnesia and I was walking by a TV and saw you on the TV and all the memories came flooding back to me. But we find out later that was a lie, that it was not real. So I did wonder, like, did Johnny's, number one, we heard that Johnny had sex with a lot of married women on the island.
Oh yeah, the ladies were turning up with stories when
Right.
Johnny came back to life.
So he had to get out of there, I guess, to escape from all the husbands that he upset. And he also sees now, like, oh, Raquel is doing really well, making money off of me and off of my name. So he's like, maybe let me go cash in on that. Like, because it felt like maybe he left. He was in Puerto Rico. He found a convenient excuse to like say he was to fake his death. And he was like, hey, why not? Like, I don't like my life back home. Obviously, I guess he didn't love Raquel that much. We kind of heard later in the episode they didn't have the best relationship. So he's like, hey, I'll just fake my death, live down here in Puerto Rico, and live the life. And that life became harder. So he decided to cash in on Raquel. But we don't really get that said out loud to us of like why he chose to come back.
Right, which is why I really thought it was a setup until then I was like, oh, okay. We're here.
But I think Raquel's just lazy, right? Raquel's lazy because Raquel, if she had worked hard enough, she could have spun this. She could have spun the whole thing to just go into a different influencer lane, to be like, oh, because you don't think people would be interested? Yeah,
like,
you don't think people interested to see Johnny come back and like what their life would be. You don't think she could have spun that into a different like influencer bracket? I think
they could have had like their own show together of like how to get reacquainted with your husband when he lied and said he was dead for 18 months.
Who's not buying that reality? Who's not buying that reality show, right? Like, there are many worse real reality shows that are out there right now. But Raquel, this whole time was like, nah, I think I'm doing well with this grief thing. I'm gonna keep up with that. And like a grief, like how, like she's so dumb because this could have like revitalized her influencer career, because how long, like the influencer space is very like, what have you done for me lately? So this death was only going to run her for so long until the grief, the compassion and grief for her ran out. This could have restarted her whole influencer career.
Yeah, we're already at 18 months after the event where she started influencing using the grief, right? So that's pretty long. That's pretty long.
she's working on borrowed time here because she, 18 months. She's lucky she's got this reality show, The Black Veil, right now. She could have done this. She and Johnny both could have been on Dancing with the Stars the next season,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
man, she messed us up. She really messed us up. But she was dumb. She was terrible.
Because Jason, sometimes, at least in New York specifically, the only solution is to kill someone without a gun.
Yeah, I guess so.
That there's no other way. There's no other way to make it better for yourself. There's
Yes.
no other solution. It's just someone
it's-
needs to be killed.
She's taking the easy way out by committing murder here, I guess.
But I mean, that wasn't. So let's talk about the murder. Okay, so she brings. First of all, they're going on the Staten Island ferry, and she has luggage. I don't know why she has luggage.
Johnny, that didn't ring a bell to you, Johnny, to be like, why are you bringing luggage? I guess she could have told him, well, if we spend the night over at your mother's house, we have clothes. Like,
or she's bringing her influencer gear, like her tripods and her ring light and all that stuff. But she's got the suitcase, and then she knew on the ferry that there were like sandbags to put it in, and then also grabbed the harness that was on her altar originally for Johnny and kind of just like tied it to him and then pushed him over the edge. And Johnny like didn't really fight back. It was very interesting.
Johnny, my friend. I mean, listen, Johnny didn't seem like the brightest bulb in the socket. Okay, let's just say that. But sir, she tied it to your belt or to your like pants loop, I guess. It's maybe instead of drowning immediately, just take your pants off. I don't know, like,
or like, and honestly, I was very confused at the like if I were Raquel, why wouldn't you throw the suitcase over first
and just have him like
go with it? Yeah, to take him by surprise. But she like, I guess then we wouldn't have the dramatic like holding onto the railing, dangling down type of scene. But I was like, wouldn't use physics to your advantage here. Like, to help you.
No one here did the best job of being a murderer or a victim. Okay, they both had their problems.
Agreed. Yeah, and I mean, this is a TV show. This is what we're supposed to do. I'm not really into figuring out why people decided to murder people and the mechanics in which they did.
I'm sure the Kings hate us. The Kings are like, y'all thinking too much about this. Like,
they're like,
we're just having fun here. We're just having fun, guys.
This is Elsbeth, okay? It's Elsbeth. Yeah. So we had that, and then what did you think about how the case was presented in the station? So we saw that we still had Officer, I forget her name, but she was a Merrily We Go Along.
Officer Hackett, which I was like,
Officer Hackett. Yeah.
So Officer Hackett is going to be like, I guess we are in a rotation again of cops. We have a rotation of cops. We have a rotation of detectives. It's like two different dials that are getting spun around every episode. They're going to get a different combination. Maybe we'll see Somerville again.
But this combination specifically
seems to stick. Yeah.
Because we had Detective Fleming, and there's some vibes happening. There's some compliments on the crafts. There's some compliments on work-life balance. There's some things going on. And I think by the end of the episode, we are to assume that they are at least having drinks with each other or doing something after work together.
Well, I wasn't sure, like, because, okay, Grace is probably what, late 20s, early 30s. Detective Fleming is 60s. Like,
I mean, I think she could be in her 30s, 40s, maybe 30s.
Maybe. So yes, at the beginning, like at first, I was thinking like, are there like romantic vibes happening? But then I kind of got the vibes at the end that Fleming was going to become a mentor to Grace, and I was like, okay, maybe that's where they're going with it. Because
hey, I'm all for it. More people we get quitting at 5. The better off for society.
Hey, keep your peace. Keep your peace. That's what I say. But yeah, so in the way this case was presented, because there's no homicide at first, Elsbeth has to be brought in some other way. So it's kind of like the case was kind of brought to Elsbeth. She didn't have to go anywhere for the case because Marie comes to the precinct because she got a voicemail from Johnny, which Johnny did not tell Raquel that he had left the voicemail, because he told Raquel that he hadn't told anyone yet, because she asked. So she had this plot almost as soon as she saw Johnny walk in the door. She's like, so baby, you didn't tell anyone else that you're back, did you? And he says, no, we're going to go visit my mom later. And so I guess he Didn't tell
He
her
was
that he
like,
left mom a voicemail.
You're the only one. You're the only one I told. You're the most important. Blah blah blah. But we do have to go to Maz like right now.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
And listen, we find out Johnny's a world-class liar anyway, so it is not surprised he just left that part out that he left a voicemail for mom. So mom comes to the precinct and says, hey, my presumed dead son left me a voicemail. What are you going to do about it? Let's go. So Elsbeth is kind of like in the background as she hears what's going on and gets involved. So it's like, oh yeah, so it's kind of different. Like we don't get Elsbeth going to a crime scene and
right
nosing her way in and doing all this. The crime kind of comes to Elsbeth in this case.
And at the same time, while Marie is in the station, we have Raquel coming in saying, like, you have to accept that Johnny is gone. Like, it's just part of the thing. So Elsbeth is like introduced to the two people. I was surprised she was, again, I know I'm thinking too hard about this, but like, she's in homicide and this is a missing persons case.
Well, we didn't like, this is like kind of a trend, I guess, for this season because last episode is
exactly.
also start with her investigating a homicide.
It did.
No, it did. No, it did. Yeah,
it did.
The murder victim was so felt like irrelevant last episode that I forgot that it was like they were investigating this homicide. It felt like she had just like kind of stumbled across David Cross last episode. So yeah, they were investigating. There was a crime scene. So I'm wrong about that. But this was a little different because the crime like came to her.
It came to her in more ways than one. So she's like it came in through the station. She was like both Detective Fleming and her were assigned to it, which again, homicide district, missing persons. I don't know, but anyway, it happens.
It felt more like Elsbeth was doing her Elsbeth thing, and maybe she didn't have a current homicide. She's just like, "What is everybody else doing? What can I help with? What can I do?" Maybe she just kind of found her like. She like Marie was in the precinct at the time. She's like, "Oh, let me get on this. Let me see what's going on here." So she's just bringing her expertise to any and every crime.
She's a helper. She's a helper. And she ends up going to the dock, and that's where. Well, first of all, she goes to the dock because they found Johnny. Mm-hmm. Strangely, they found Johnny in the ocean because people are now using the ocean to store wine. Like they store that wine in caves and barrels apparently. So someone was checking in on their wine and found Johnny at the bottom of or floating in the ocean because he hadn't reached the bottom yet. And we see Cameron there letting us know, yeah, like, no, this dude was murdered. Like it's officially a murder case now.
Good to see they're keeping old Cameron around, even though his love interest has officially left the series regular scene. At least we're still getting Cam some work here.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I wish he would bring some baked goods in every once in a while, but yeah, he's there. And then Elsbeth asks, like, do they have cameras? He's like, I don't know. You're gonna have to ask. And who do we see when she asks? None other than Kaya.
This was a really good surprise because I said last episode I thought it was going to be the Marissa Gold episode, and I thought that because reading the description for this episode last week, it said there was going to be like a reunion. Does something about a reunion? So I was like, oh, okay, it's Elsbeth and Marissa. I didn't even think about Kaya in that regard. So I was like, oh my god, it's Kaya! Like when Elsbeth was looking down while talking to the person, and I saw that the person she was talking to was black, I was like, like that ain't Kaya. And I was like, oh my god, it's Kaya! I was so happy.
Yeah, it's Kaya, and I loved how this played out because Elsbeth did do a good job not freaking out. She did do a good job playing along. We learned that Kaya's new identity is Denise Jackson. Apparently she's there, working on some dock corruption case. But they ended up like using a tiki bar as a place to exchange information and kind of like see each other and talk to each other. And we got a little bit of the dynamic back that we've been looking for this whole season.
The magic was sparking. It was like some sparks were happening. I was like, okay, we can still see the chemistry is still here. We also kind of use this as like we use this as exposition. We use it as like a way to find out some things about Elsbeth. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, because we find out they meet up at the bar, obviously, and the girls are going to have girl talk, and we find out that what happened in Scotland with Agnes. Oh. Agnes. Angus. It's Angus, not Agnes.
Angus. It's Angus, okay? Angus beef. Yeah, so the justification for this was interesting because basically it was neither one of them want to leave their home, so can't really be a relationship if they don't want to do a long distance relationship, I guess, and no one wants to move to New York. She doesn't want to move to Scotland because she says it's too quiet there for her. And it got me thinking about like who Elsbeth is and what like how she operates. It feels like Elsbeth needs the noise outside her mind to match the noise inside her mind, because we know that Elsbeth's mind runs like a mile a minute. And there's so many things going on in that mind of hers. She needs something outside of it to help her keep track of it. Because I can
Like,
imagine,
she has to balance. She has to be
yeah,
on the same frequency as the place around her. Otherwise, she's going to feel out of control. Not that I
right.
speak from experience or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yes.
As I always say, you are the most Elsbeth person I know in my life. But yeah, like I can imagine what she's talking about, because like her mind runs a mile a minute, and if she's in someplace quiet like where Angus lives in Scotland, she's going to run out of things to keep her mind occupied, and that's going to drive her crazy. If that continuously running motor of her mind runs out of fuel, basically, because it feels like New York and its surroundings are like the fuel for her. There's so many things going on. It helps
Well,
her
and
occupy her
Chicago was that
mind.
way too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Chicago is a busy city, had things going on. She had other people. She had like things to respond to. And I'm not saying that like a peaceful scene in Scotland isn't something to respond to. It's just like a influencer's journey. It's only going to last as long as it lasts
Yeah.
before something else, has to take over. And so if she knew she wasn't going to be happy there in the long term, and he knew he wouldn't be happy there in the long term, unfortunately, that means no more Angus.
Yeah, I'm happy that she saved this revelation for Kaya, right? Because
Yeah.
Teddy asked about it in the first episode, and she decided not to tell Teddy about it. And the only person she could tell about it was Kaya, because Kaya is her BFF, and she's the person that she can share the most information with. And it just made me sad that she doesn't always have that person with her. It's only going to be every once in a while she's going to be able to see Kaya and have this type of friendship. And I also loved the callback to Kaya loving reality TV, because they talk about the Black Veil, and of course Kaya knows all about it because Kaya's been watching the Black Veil. I was like, oh, I miss Kaya.
I know. And even like at the end of the episode, Wagner's like, who would want to hear about this?
Yeah.
Like he's just like trying his best to be, dad for both of them. But also we learn what's going on with Kaya a little bit more. She's undercover as Denise Jackson. She's on this task force, but in the like changing of exchange of information, what she gives Elsbeth can't use because it would endanger her. And while they're at the bar, and one of the last scenes that they're together in, someone comes up and talks to Denise. So I'm walking away from this thinking that Kai is in danger a little here.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this is like a scaled down season for Elsbeth, and if it can prove and hold its ratings, then is this like is there going to be a Kaya rescue at the end? Because even if the show doesn't get renewed, it would be a nice like ending. But if it does get renewed, then she can get slipped back into the
Yeah.
ecosphere. Because I just the way that this episode ended, I can tell Elsbeth's already like scheming how to figure out what's going on with Kaya and how to help her,
Yeah.
and that's going to get in the way of some stuff. But I think that's where we're headed ultimately.
Yeah, it's like this cliffhanger we're presented with, where Wagner gives Elsbeth a phone that is a single use phone only to call Kai, which I'm not sure how or why that works, but it's it's the rules for this phone. It can only be used to call Kyle one time. Like, what's gonna happen? Is it gonna explode? Is it gonna self-destruct after I use the phone call? What's gonna happen
Well, and
if I
then
hit? What's gonna happen if I hit redial again? Is it not gonna call her number again? Is like
I
what?
know you know this reference, but remember on Inspector Gadget when he'd get the thing and then it would self-destruct?
Yeah, I mean,
It was kind of like that. And then also I was like, why are you using your one call on this? You know what I
well,
mean? Like,
what do you mean? Because he was like, this is what you can only use it one time to call Kaya, which is like okay, I guess, but Yeah, I first of all, I got my message board back here. So sorry, Miss Jackson, because I don't know what's going on with Kaya, aka Denise Jackson. But let me tell you something, Kings. Look at me. Look at me. I know you're watching. You better not touch a hair on Kaya Blanc's head. Okay? Kaya better be okay.
Don't
She
even do this to me, Jason. Like, do
she
not have
listen.
Elsbeth have to solve the murder of
No,
Kaya.
yeah, don't even Marissa. Now you're speaking things into the universe. I wasn't trying to speak things in the universe. Okay, I'm just saying, Kaya better be okay, Kings.
She
Don't
better
make
be.
don't make me come over there. Okay, I don't care.
To where?
You to wherever the Kings are at. Okay, making their little law shows. Featuring Mike Coulter.
Yeah.
But listen, she better be all right. I'm not playing with y'all. Okay, she better be okay. I do not want to hear that Kai's been hurt. Kai's been deaded. I know, like whatever's going on with Cara Patterson, y'all. Whatever. I don't even need her. I don't need Kai to be on my screens no more. I just don't want Kai to be dead. Don't do that to
Yeah,
us.
don't do that. Don't do
Don't do
that.
it.
We've
Don't
been
do
through
it.
enough. Don't
You've
do
been through
it.
enough.
Also, like,
2025 already been
read the
enough. But
room. Read the room. Yeah.
yeah, 2025 has already been enough. Don't add this onto it, okay? But I do think you're right in the fact that the season long arc might be about where's Kaya, how can we help Kaya, what's going on with Kaya. But we thought things were going to be season long arcs before, and they ended up being half season arcs. So
Yep. Agreed.
maybe that might be the case as well. But however long it takes to figure out where Kaya is and how we can save Kaya, because we got the distinct feeling that Kai's in trouble because when Elsbeth tried to call that number, it was out of service. So Kai's in trouble. Elsbeth had to save her.
Yes.
She better be okay.
You hear that?
Do you hear that, Kings? She better be okay.
Yeah. She better be okay.
Yeah.
She better be.
There's going to be a problem if she's not.
Look at you. I mean, I'll send Jason, but yeah. We're looking
yeah. It's going to be a problem. And Marissa's going to send me. And what I'm going to do is write a strongly worded letter because
with a good pen. With a good pen.
Marissa's going to provide me the pen.
Yes.
The pen is mightier than the sword. Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to write a rather disappointing letter to you guys. And
the revolution will be on stationery.
That's right. I'll figure out who to mail it to and how to mail it, because that's so much more impactful than a DM that you'll probably never read. Okay. I'll make sure it gets into your hands.
Well, hey, if people in Congress can write strongly worded letters, we can too.
Yes, for sure.
Because that's how change is made. So yeah, I don't know, Jason, where else can we go with this one? We talked a little bit about like what happened and how Raquel did the murder and everything, but what's missing from our conversation?
Let's talk about how dumb Raquel slipped up, because Raquel is so dumb. First of all, because
you have said the number.
Raquel's so dumb. Raquel's dumb because the way Raquel decided to commit this murder was to take the carabiner and harness from the little altar or the shrine that she made to Johnny, and decided to use that, which came from his old FNDNY uniform. She used that to attach the sandbags to his belt and pull him overboard. And then what she did, which I think she thought she was being smart by being like, you know what? People are going to notice the harness and carabiner are gone in my future videos. Yeah. So I'm gonna buy a new one to replace it so that no one knows the wiser. Which, Raquel,
if anyone's going to know the wiser,
it's Elsbeth, because listen, Elsbeth knows and sees everything. And what you should have done, dumb Raquel, is buy the new carabiner harness. If you had the access.
Didn't have time. She didn't have time.
I guess.
She didn't have time because she had to get on the thing and go see the mom and do all that stuff and not let Johnny know that she was plotting to kill him.
But listen, you can Uber Eats anything now. You can Uber Eats like freaking I don't know. I'm sure you can Uber Eats a carabiner harness from Home Depot, which she just went to the store and bought the time after she committed the murder. But do something more than use a prop that you know is going to be in all your videos. Like,
well, yeah. This also highlights like the whole how she solved it moment, right? So like throughout the conversation, Raquel's like, I couldn't have done it because I was on a live stream. See, look at the live stream. Look at that little time code that tells you that I was here because it is a live stream. Who knew that Officer Hackett also streamer
Yeah,
things like that
listen.
using an app called, I forget what it was called, but it basically like you could pre-record something and then it would
Yeah,
broadcast it as
it's
if
like
it was live.
live talk or something. Yeah,
Yeah. And she also picked up the fact that like Raquel said hi to two people that weren't actually in the chat at the time. And so that was the first thing. But then Elsbeth using her like highlights magazine, what's different between these two images,
yeah,
superpower. That's when she noticed the carabiner was different. And then we do get the payoff of a traditional Elsbeth reveal
yeah.
on the set of Black Veil, which I thought was very fun, seeing as we hadn't seen one in a while.
Yeah, it was it harkened back to the first season where we make a whole big production out of arresting the murderer, because I guess we're doing a extra special version of the Black Veil behind the Black Veil, where she just talks more about the Black Veil.
Well, Johnny had come back, right? So she had like the show is going to jump on that and have a like exclusive interview with her,
She's a
and then
widower
also
twice over. Yeah,
yeah, and then also like the manager man was like, talk about her upcoming new show. You know what I mean? So it was probably like good for both enterprises.
Yeah, and I loved Elsbeth like coming, because that's the big like climax is Elsbeth revealing how Raquel did this, and I love the way they did it because she's like Elsbeth is like playing to the cameras. It almost felt like she was in court presenting her case.
Yes.
Like she has like the evidence bag. She's like, and she used this right here, Johnny's old carabiner and harness, to attach to his belt and to pull him down into the briny sea. So I loved like that part of it. Because it was so performative, and Elsbeth loves to be performative, so that was a lot of fun. Tony Gonzalez was there to, I guess, watch on and not do
well,
much.
And he like served up a question or two.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I loved him. I was wishing Marie was more of a like version, like more of a player in this than she was, because she was really good in a limited amount of time that we got to see her. Because there was this moment where when they found out that yes, this man that was in the ocean is indeed your son / husband, they came to Marie's house where Raquel also was. So Raquel's like, this I hate this lady. This lady and my son were fighting all the time. They never had a great relationship. She was never happy enough with Johnny's FDNY benefits. So that kind of told our crew, like, okay, it wasn't all the paradise that Raquel was, talking about her relationship with Johnny. It was not a perfect relationship. It was a relationship fraught with problems. So it's like, okay, Raquel's definitely not all she's cracked up to be. And then when Marie confronts Raquel at the very end, is like, you dirty like MFer, like, yeah. And then we find out that Marie is going to get a golden version of the Black Veil, because Marie's husband back in the day died from electrocution. I was like, that made me think, like, should we get like a sequel to this episode where we find out Marie also killed her husband?
I hope they do what they did. I think it was in season 1. There was like a housewives thing, and then we saw like a billboard for it later in the season. Like, I hope we hear like some sort of report from like, did you watch the Golden Black Veil?
Yeah,
Marie's married now or something.
And we had another great callback, like in this episode too, where like they talked to the agent person. They're like, "Hey, were you the agent for the it was the Christmas influencer couple? You remember that with Vanessa Bayer and someone else? There was an agent there. It's like, did you know that agent as well? So I love how Elsbeth keeps doing the callbacks to the previous episodes. Elsbeth mentioned she can't eat frozen yogurt anymore, which I didn't even remember like where, like, I think that was just a reference to her and Kaya both.
Because they would have froyo nights and watch television.
Yeah, I loved like, you could tell Elsbeth is just yearns for like to be able to talk to Kaya all the time, because like because she referenced the plushie in the first episode. She brought the plushie that she got from Scotland for Kaya here. It's just like, in her really cute Elsbeth way, she's like, I'm just gonna leave this right here and pretend that I forgot it at the bar when I leave. Which honestly, also, if you are undercover, like, why are you going to a public bar where anyone can see you, which is exactly what happened here. Because when Elsbeth and Kaya are talking, some other person is like, "Hey, Denise Jackson, is that you? What are you doing here?" Talking to a person that is, I'm sure, famous. Because I gotta imagine Elsbeth is Elsbeth is it has to be famous, right? She has to be. If Elsbeth was a real person, we would be having so many like profiles and interviews about
I
Elsbeth.
mean, at the very least, she stands out.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
she's single-handedly helping the crime rate in New York. I would imagine there's got to be some special, like there would be a 60 Minutes interview at some point with her, like you're really helping the cops by coming with all this circumstantial evidence that will probably be thrown out in court later. But yeah, I can imagine somebody be like, why is Denise Jackson talking to Elsbeth Tassioni, the famous detective, not detective, that's been helping the cops? Because if you're a criminal, if you're a criminal, you also have to have Elsbeth on your radar to be like, that lady
I
is
mean,
trouble.
yes, I would think by this time she may be a little bit known around town, as they would say. But I would also love to see, like, if they have to meet up again, I would love to see Elsbeth go into undercover and not be like in bright
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
because I think like that's what kind of like gives it away. Like if and obviously her red hair. I did love also the mention to firemen, and she's like, you know how firemen
yeah.
can be. And
Mm-hmm.
Elsbeth's like, yes, I do. But I think that would be kind of fun to see her like, okay, I don't want to put you in danger. I'm going to de-Elsbethify myself so that I can get you something that you need. And maybe she's like in jeans and a t-shirt
Yeah,
instead
like
of
what if they were like, hey, who's that chick you was talking to? And they like take her captive until Kaya tells them something off the wall who Elsbeth is, and then Elsbeth has to pretend to be that person and go undercover, and like you said, not be her Elsbeth self, ditch the tote bags and ditch the bright colors and be like some street smart tough person. I don't know. I think that would be a fun thing for Carrie Preston to have to do.
yeah, like a character within a character type of
Mm-hmm.
situation. And also with like Wagner in her ear, or
Yeah.
like trying to get her attention like he did with the teddy bear in the last episode, like in some sort of way trying to still communicate with her, because she does need him to, I think she is going to need him to help Kaya.
I just hope that when it does come to the point where Kaya needs to be saved, it is a like group effort with Wagner, Elsbeth, and Kaya all having to work together
And
to figure this to get her out of trouble.
I would also love it if it was some past criminals. Like I would love it if Elsbeth had to and Wagner had to lean on some of the rich people they helped. Call up Vanessa Williams. Do you have any apples?
Yeah, yeah,
Like all of this stuff. P.S. By the way, on Dropout, there's a show called Crowd Control, and this girl was like, one time I ate 60 apples in 2 days, and I was like, oh my god. And she's like, and I ended up in the hospital, and I was like,
arsonist.
yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I know
What?
exactly.
And why did she eat 60 apples in 2 days? Is she just
Because
like
someone dared her that she couldn't, and she
oh
wanted to
my
prove that she
god,
could, and
bro,
she was a kid.
bruh,
So,
that's
but I was
crazy.
just like, oh my god, I know why you went to the hospital, because of Elsbeth.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
like, if they could lean on some of these other people and bring some, especially, I mean, I do want the show to be renewed, but I am also watching this in case it doesn't, like if it is going to be a series finale, it would be nice to bring in
yeah, because
other people.
I want to get like I want to see a because I feel like a lot of Elsbeth's solves involve a lot of circumstantial evidence that can be thrown out in court later. So I would love to see some of these criminals that she caught that are still like running around out free. Like I would love for one of them to come back and do something either to help or to maybe we can get a former criminal involved in this docs stuff that Kaya is investigating.
Right? Yeah, yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be fun. That'd be really great because I do feel like a good lawyer could throw out all this evidence that
Hmm.
Elsbeth finds on them because a lot of it is just like that can be explained away.
But also, a good lawyer. Interesting.
Oh my god, bro! What,
Interesting.
You blowing my mind, bro! You're
I
blowing my
know.
mind.
I know.
What
I am.
What if Diane or Carriagos or Marissa Gold comes
That's
through?
it. Yes.
Okay. I legit forgot what Marissa ended the good fight doing because I feel like
Spoilers. Spoilers for a good
spoilers.
fight.
Spoilers for good fight. She started wanting to be a investigator, right?
She was an investigator. Okay, first of all, she
Or is
was
she
a receptionist, and then she
right?
ended up being, because I think she was Diane's receptionist, and then she ended up being an investigator, and
Right.
then she ended up applying to law school, being in
Right.
law school,
There you
and
go.
then she was in that weird law thing or that weird court with
Yeah,
Mandy
with the
Patinkin,
yeah,
and then
yeah, that
she
was fun.
became like an actual lawyer.
Yes.
Um,
Okay. I forgot the
so
order of operations. Like, did she want to be a lawyer first, and then she want to be an investigator? Or was it the other way around? It was the other way around. Okay. So yeah, great like point. I would love to see like if Marissa like got one of Elsbeth's murders like off, off of whatever, and how that dynamic would work after that. Because, like I said, I feel like Elsbeth's like solves are like they're true, they're right. We know that Elsbeth is right. The way she finds out she's right is like a good lawyer could probably get that evidence thrown out.
well, yeah. I mean, yes. So we'll have to see. I am interested to see what happens when Marissa's on board. I know we had the name drop of
Diane.
Diane last episode. I would like to see either a lawyer say, "Hey, this isn't enough. You got to find more," or like, "What else can we do?" Like helping while the trial is going on, type of
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Yeah.
or them working together in tandem
And
to get towards a common goal.
I also think it would be interesting if Elsbeth has to wrestle with the fact, like, because we've seen Elsbeth be a little regretful about some of the things that she had to do as a lawyer, and coming face to face with the fact that people that she's close with, like a Marissa Gold, might still be doing those things that she finds objectionable, and to be like,
Yeah.
why are you doing these things? And Marissa would be like, because I'm a defense lawyer. That's what I do. Like,
Yeah. Also, like, what? Like,
yeah,
we are the same. Like, you see,
yeah,
having someone from her past see her without, like, see Elsbeth with her new values
yeah.
and um morale.
But I don't know if that's gonna, because I don't know if Marissa, when we see Marissa, if she's still gonna be a lawyer, because listen, Marissa Gold was a very
Oh, we don't know.
very go with the flow person. She switched careers like 5 times throughout the journey of Good Wife and Good Fight. So who knows what she's going to be when we see her in Elsbeth. But I'm super excited for her whenever we see her and what she's going to be doing. And I'm very excited to see where this Kaya thing is going to go. Now we definitely heard that Kaya is not going to be in a lot of episodes. She's going to be in like probably single digit episodes, probably like 2 or 3. So,
But now we have reference for what she's doing. We know where she is, and we know that she's missing. So if she's not in those episodes directly as like a person, I am confident that her character will be discussed, or a message will come through, or she'll get an email or a phone call or something that will come through that will move her story forward. As much as I would love to see Kaya in every episode, because that friendship is still one of the best things of the show. At least they laid the groundwork for her to not have just like disappeared.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't want this to happen, but I've seen so many shows like this where like we get a one-off like little scene where like someone is handcuffed to a chair and they're getting like tortured for information. I hope that's not what's happening to Kaya, but I can see it happening where we don't need Cara Patterson. We just see it from like behind her perspective, where we see the back of Kaya.
Yeah.
That way we don't have to pay Cara Patterson, but we can have someone stand in for Cara Patterson, which listen, we know the Kings like to do that type of stuff, okay? From the Good Wife. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got that. I hope Kaya's not being tortured somewhere for information about who she really is and what she's really doing. But we'll see. I'm excited.
Well, and if she is, I don't think it's happening now. I think this is just like planting the seed that danger could be coming. You know what I mean? I know she's not available by phone, but she could have been using a burner phone, like that.
Well,
that whole thing.
I think that is to suggest that Kaya is in danger. That's what I think.
Well, I think
like
she's in danger, but that doesn't mean that she's like tied up in a dungeon somewhere.
I don't know. I think that means she's in a current dangerous situation.
Or she was watching TV and her ringer was off. I know it's more danger, but
it's not in service. It's not just like
but then like if she's being tortured right now, they're not going to let her be tortured for multiple episodes. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so
no, you don't know. I don't know.
cruel and unusual. Cruel and unusual.
I mean, it would show that
I
she's.
mean,
It would show that Kaya is made of strong stuff because she's refusing to give up who she is and what she's doing.
sure, fine, but that would require like kind of seeing Cara Patterson in that situation, like.
And and I know I'm thinking too much of like real world logistics, but why is the phone out of service? Like, did someone call and get the phone canceled?
Maybe, or
Because you
she
would,
knew that Elsbeth was going to call and she cut off her phone
I don't know. You would think if the
to
phone is
save
destroyed,
Elsbeth.
if the phone's destroyed, or the phone is off, it would just go to voicemail. It wouldn't be like out of service, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's someone actually calling and saying like, "Hey,
Cut off
we
the
don't
phone
need
line.
this number anymore."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that is episode 3. It
Yep.
was, Jason, overall takes.
I mean, it was an Elsbeth episode, right? It was back to kind of doing what we do as Elsbeth. Last week was kind of a diverted path of what we usually do. This was more of the typical Elsbeth episode with a little like sprinkling of some interesting Kaya stuff in there. I liked the Grace Fleming dynamic. I thought
Yeah,
that was
me
really
too.
fun. Like it was
Yeah.
like you could see Fleming was like really like excited about Grace because she does stuff old school, because we know that Fleming is an old school guy. And so he liked that she started a whiteboard of evidence. And so I think that will be more of definitely a mentor mentee relationship we'll see further down the line. I think it also cemented where Elsbeth is like, oh, like these two are partners, buddy, and I got nobody. Like I think
Oh yeah. Well, and especially because Fleming going to mentor Kaya?
Kaya. Mhm.
Yeah.
That went nowhere. Kaya had so many mentors that never mentored her. Like Wagner's supposed to be a mentor, Fleming was supposed to be a mentor, like Smullen, when she was supposed to follow Smullen to be a mentor. Like nobody ever actually mentored Kaya. Kaya did everything herself.
She did.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting to see that relationship, form with Fleming and Grace, and I hope to see it go even further. Grace is an asset for sure, but I feel like, are we just going to keep getting these police officers that can do more? And like, is Grace going to be is Grace the next Kaya to be like a detective? She's like this smart cop that turns into a detective, because like that's the same trajectory that you had Kaya on.
Oh,
Like,
no. I feel like she's going to turn off. She's going to get off the clock at 5. Like she's in the Fleming School of Detectives, and she's going to pursue her career in comedy. So if anything with this character, I feel like her out will be, I got to set on the Tonight Show or something like that. I don't think it's going to be, we're going to repeat it there.
I gotta bring it up again, and I hope you guys out there listening and watching aren't like annoyed at me like keep talking about this. But I feel like a detective and a cop that you keep rotating, I feel like we could have just done away with all that and put Kaya here with Elsbeth as a permanent duo,
Yes.
partners, and just let them be I'm like the rotating detective and cops. They're cool. They're like, it can be funny, but if it went away and you replace that with a Kaya and Elsbeth permanent partnership, I would be mad at it. I'd be grateful.
Yeah.
But that's
and
behind the scenes
especially
stuff that we don't really know. Like,
yeah, and like that, I think those two characters can stand on their own and also have established relationships with the other people in the group. So it's like Kaya has her relationship with Wagner. Wagner has his relationship with Elsbeth. You know what I mean? Like there's more history there. I think when we keep switching it up, it kind of breaks that investment.
It breaks
in
some
those
momentum.
characters. Yeah, because
it
like
breaks the chemistry. Yeah.
Who are we? What pieces are we playing with today? Which I know is very like indicative of like everyday life. You don't know what you're gonna get, but it would just be in 2025. It would be very nice to have a predictable little slice of my life where these two people are always on TV.
Yes.
And they're always trying to solve murders together and watching TV just like we do.
Yeah. When Elsbeth was talking to Kaya and Kaya saw Cam, she was like, "Ooh, do you think there's trouble there, or is it just the fact that like she doesn't want Cam to come over and like blow her cover?" Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure.
She didn't want to. Maybe he didn't see her.
Yeah, I don't think he
and
did.
he doesn't like. She doesn't want
He doesn't know
because
what
I
she's
don't
up
think
to.
he knows where she is
No, I don't think
either.
he does. I don't think he does.
So it's like, oh, what do you mean you were in the backyard the whole time? You know, like,
But yeah, that was I think we've talked about the episode in a good enough fashion. I think we got it top to bottom.
we'd love to hear like if we missed something, feel free, let
Yeah,
us know. If
hit
there's
us
another
up.
part of the episode that you wanted to explore or have something to say about our opinions about it, we always love to hear from you. You can email
Yeah,
at us,
sure.
email at us. You can email at us.
Yeah, you can do that. There's the at in there for a reason. You're emailing at us. Yes. So I think next episode, from what I see, is going to be a Halloween themed episode. So that should be
Ooh.
fun. We know that Elizabeth is if nothing else but a costume queen. So we'll see what that brings next week. Marissa, can you tell the people out there where they can find you? We can tell the good folk where they can find you.
Hey, good folks. You can find me at itsmemarissag.com, where I have links to all of the podcasts that I'm on, including the Good Pod here, talking with Jason about Elsbeth and the Good Wife. Over on Whirlwind Podcast, I'm talking about Pretty Little Liars, one previously on at a time. And then my sister and I are going through Star Trek The Next Generation for a First Watch podcast over on USS Sisterhood. Again, all of those links are at itsmemarissag.com. Jason, I know you've got a lot going on this month. So why don't you tell the people what's going on?
So yeah, Love is Blind is wrapping up, and me, Asia Welch, and Mary Krakowski are talking about it. We just released the wedding episode recap of a couple of days ago. Next week will be the reunion, and then Love is Blind season 9 will be in the rear view. But that's not all the love mess you're going to get from me, because Married at First Sight just came back this week. This past Thursday, it came out. Me and Asia Welch on the Perfect Match podcast are talking about it. We dropped our first episode about the first 4 episode drop. It was a long one. We had a lot to talk about. We had a lot of fun over there. I got to talking about influencers. I've started to be like get in the life of influencer. Peacock, who is a streaming service that is the new home of Married at First Sight, sent me and Asia some swag so that we could promote it on the show. I got a nice robe. I got a seat mask. Got a weekender bag. It was a whole thing. So we talked about that on the podcast. Did a whole bunch of stuff on the podcast. So come over there, join us. We're also having bonus content from Married at First Sight season 19. We also have some other previous season Married at First Sight content on our Patreon over at patreon.com/perfectmatchpodcast. So if any of that floats your boat, come on over. We'd love to have you. And until next week, stay good.